A year ago, I found out that the love of my life was only using me for dates and gifts, gentlemen. I actually completely blocked her on every form of social media and contact that I could find. While I 100% know that she was pretty much using me and an awful person, about once a month, I get the urge to contact her now. I do know enough to not act out on those urges. I cannot find any sort of rational reason for them. Is there some sort of reason for why I still get the urge to contact a woman that has caused me such terrible trouble, even knowing that doing so will actually cause me even more? Is this some sort of instinct-type feeling or something different? Is this some sort of common feeling, or am I weird for having them? I really cannot actually come up with a rational reason for this urge to contact her. I got this advice about it. Well, the urge to reach out to your ex-girlfriend and see what she's up to is perfectly fine and normal. I still look up my ex-girlfriend from time to time to see what they're up to using social media, but I never contact them in any way. I suspect women do the same to us men, spying on our profile. They keep their eyes peeled on social media to see if we've actually been successful or if we've failed in life. In my case, I'm pretty much off of social media, so there really isn't any way for my access to see what I'm up to. But of course, that doesn't always help, because some of our old friends are still pretty much my friends on Facebook. So if they really wanted to snoop and stalk me, they could just talk to their friends and get them to spy on me instead, and then report back. My so-called love of my life nearly died in Spain recently from a terrorist attack. A few hours difference, and I would have been hearing about her on the news. I learned about that by checking out her social media accounts. But I actually wouldn't contact her. She was pissed off at me when I ended the relationship, and she thought it was going to be one of those lifelong type of things. It wasn't until she constantly told me no to any life direction or choice that I wanted to make for both of us, or simply laughed in my face. Do I get misty and feel like contacting her from time to time? Sure, but at this point, I no longer have anything in common with her at all, and I also know all the games that she played on me for many years. Just like you probably understand all the games that your ex played on you for many years. I'm also sure that most of you are still emotionally hurt even after a year. And because of that, you still think about her and second-guess your decision to go your own way. This is also perfectly normal. Wanting to contact her doesn't actually have to be rational, but instead it's often emotional. You're still connected to that woman in some ways, and some of you will still be connected to her for the rest of your life. A man's memory never fades with regards to conquest in the bedroom, and I found that some small part of me always regrets ending a relationship even when it's a bad relationship. It's like I never wanted to let it go, but this is how I deal with it. I remember the good things, and the bad quite often tend to fade into the background. The only cure for this is time. I found that as you age, if you have a bad memory, the further in the rear view these types of experiences are, the less they affect you. If you're in your late teens and early 20s and don't have experience dealing with grief, then her memory and desire to contact her is going to be gnawing away at you. Make sure that you ignore those feelings, please, because it's going to come and go from time to time, as you probably already know, but it doesn't help. Again, it's perfectly normal to feel the way that you do. Remember that humans have generally lived in small communities of only about 200 or 300 people in the past. Marriage was for life back in the day, especially for most of the relatively modern human. Just think about how you get emotional looking through an old middle school or high school yearbook. You're attached emotionally to people you haven't seen for many years and wonder how their lives have turned out. And you're curious about how life would have been different if you'd actually stayed in touch with your high school friends. So why wouldn't you feel torn wanting to keep in touch with someone you actually shared a bed with? Let me give you a great example. One of the weirdest meetings I ever had with an ex-girlfriend was about 5 or 10 years ago, when I went to sleep one night and I was dreaming of meeting her and seeing that girl that I dated back in high school. I woke up the next day and I saw her in public and ran into her accidentally. Yet another one of those crazy precognitive experiences. You can't underestimate the power of emotional energy. That particular girl I was with back in the 11th grade, she told me one day that she was too busy to meet up, and one of my friends instead saw her at the mall. So I immediately stopped talking to her because she was pretty much a very bad fibber. That was pretty much the last time either of us actually spoke. We also didn't speak to one another when we saw each other. More recently, about 5 or 10 years ago, we just acknowledged each other with a glance and went our separate ways. Both of us probably experienced some anxiety. With my other ex-girlfriend, I wasn't as fortunate. I discovered that most ex-girlfriends don't care if you're seeing someone else or not. When they get in touch with you, if they want a monkey branch back from you, they have no problem ruining the relationship you're already in. When 2 of my ex-girlfriends called me in my 20s and asked to get back together, I didn't think anything of it. After roughly 2 years, both spoke to me. To gain my attention and demonstrate how pitiful she was, one of them even grabbed my arm and put it all over herself. The 2 of them actually felt kind of awkward and empty, I guess, when they couldn't find a guy that was better. They tried swinging back to me since I was the one that dumped them. For the uninformed men out there, when you dump a woman, it often signals that you have higher status, so they might actually decide to go back to you at some point in the future. Mr. Anonymous, I don't know the circumstances surrounding your break. Was it after her birthday or Christmas? Because I know that many women love to break up right after gift-giving season. You can be with a woman for 6 months to a year, and you never really know what she's feeling. It always seems to be like a mystery. The truth is she's not feeling for men what men feel for women. The way you as a man wants to basically figure out a car. You will always need to communicate with her if you have children with her for the benefit of the kids. You essentially always have connectivity. The best course of action is to essentially cut off all contact with your former partners. Therefore, don't feel compelled or forced to converse with them. Here is undoubtedly still a significant portion of you that wants to remain with them. Just be patient, Mr. Anonymous. If you wait a year or 2, the desire to contact them will probably go away. At some point, the pain is going to end, but you actually have to give yourself time to grieve the loss of your relationship. They say the worst type of emotional pain a person can experience is the loss of their. The second on that list is a loss of a spouse and a breakup or divorce. You'll never get fully over a woman if you loved her with all of your heart. Stop picking at the wound by contacting her and pretty much reliving the pain over and over again. Even if you think about it, you end up reliving it.